What do these new numbers tell us about the jobs market, job growth in the months to come? John Herrmann of State Street Global is a Bloomberg best on unemployment data and overall forecasting as well. That means he's one of the most accurate forecasters of the job situation. He joins us now from Boston. John, thanks for spending some time with us. Let me ask you, first of all, about what I was just talking to Mike McKee about. You know, Joe Bruce-Wallace, one of our economists, and Chris Rupke from the Bank of Tokyo Mitsubishi have both suggested that even the idea of quantitative easing to come was priced into the economy, not just the markets, and that's one of the reasons we saw strong jobs numbers. Do you agree?
You know, it sounds really nice. It's a kind of, colorful sernero. But, let's just be realistic. The bottom line is, for the last 4 months, the economy's been growing private jobs with, with Bernanke only weighing in on the subject over the last, 2 months. So for 4 months, we've done a pretty good job of creating employment, first point. Second point is, motor vehicle sales have been very, very resilient, and that's symptomatic of consumers being positive and sensing some income and job growth. So, and those have been resilient over the course of the summer and in the early part of the fall. So all these developments preceded the Fed and preceded Bernanke. So I would say, yeah, going forward, I think we have, we'll begin to see QE impact the numbers. But what we're seeing today, no. I think today is just pure, it's the economy, it's just the pure endogenous features of the economy.
Hey, John, I want to throw something out because, we've been talking today really all week about what the Fed did and didn't do. There's been a lot of critics come out against what Ben Bernanke and company did. I want you to listen to something Barton Biggs said today. He kind of is taking on the Fed chairman's critics here. Listen in.
They're a bunch of grouches, and they've got they don't have the same problems that we have. And Bernanke, after all, is an American, and he's concerned about the American economy, and he's concerned not only about inflation, but also about employment.
John, sounds like he's taking on those overseas critics of Ben Bernanke. What do you think about what Barton had to say?
Well, the part of the message I would, kind of diverge from. But the bottom line is this: the economy, we're in sort of the early stages of the job cycle. And right now, the economy definitely does need ongoing stimulus from both fiscal and from monetary policy. From the fiscal standpoint, we definitely need the extension of the tax cuts. As you know, there's about $340 billion set to expire at the end of this year. Mm-hmm. And if you take that out of GDP, you know that the economy is nowhere going to be as strong and create jobs. So the thing is, we have to extend at least $230 billion of those expiring tax provisions. First point. Second point is, we still need a supportive environment from the Fed and from monetary policy. So we completely agree. We think profits are very impressed, and we're getting things moving forward and foot by foot, step by step. We think we're putting together a recovery. And if we continue this for the next year or so, I think we're actually going to be pretty impressed.
But, John, if it's not a liquidity problem, why do we need the Fed to keep doing this?
The issue is getting borrowing rates at a point that really begins to bolster confidence that households who have the ability will begin to borrow. Businesses can refinance and swap into floating and get these unbelievably low rates. That helps their profits. We just did a study right today on looking at the operating profits of companies using a NEPA measure, operating profits per worker, and these things are at all-time highs. This is a leading indicator of job growth coming forward. So the economy is really, if you will, the economy is a little bit underutilizing labor. So we think actually all the signals of this report, plus that feature of profits per worker, just a solid signal that the economy is really set up to add jobs over the next 12 to 24 months. We just continue to need just a little bit of extra support coming from the Fed and from the federal government.
Hey, John, when Kathleen Hayes first introduced us, you were kind of a Super Bowl, and a lot of people couldn't even believe your predictions. You then sort of tempered your outlook and got a little bit bearish. Now I see, though, that you think there are risks that the real GDP growth will exceed 2.5% in the fourth quarter. Are you getting back to your sort of bullish roots here?
Yeah, I'm definitely getting back. We've been for this month, we're looking for really decent retail sales. We've been for the last couple of months been predicting that holiday retail sales would definitely beat expectations. And now we think this report's definitely consistent with that view. going forward, as long as we can continue to see risk appetite being taken by businesses and by households, we will incrementally get back. We're just not all of a sudden going to go from saving and being so cautious to suddenly a complete risk-on position. It's going to be very gradual. We also have all this deleveraging going on, the housing problems and that kind of stuff. So we have a bunch of obstacles in front. But if we have supportive policy in conjunction with this very resilient profit picture, we think the economy is really set to grow and can just continue to improve. And if that said, if they roll out, if they're just more aggressive on fiscal policy than what I'm just outlined for you,
right,
then we're looking at 3% growth next year.
Sounds like you're not worried about any bubbles here, John. 10 seconds. I mean, that doesn't come into play here, or what?
Definitely not. We're ready to go. Let's just put the programs in place, and then let's just grip it and rip it.
All right. We love getting time with you. John Herrmann, you have a great weekend. Thank you.
Flip it and rip it.
Happy
Flip
birthday,
it and
Matt.
rip it.
He wants to flip it and rip it.
I like
that. Surfer dude. All right.